Well, it's certainly cold today again. We've got this stiff wind that's blowing through the garden, and it's taken over from the rain that we've had. And it's really chilling me to the bone, but I thought I'll be brave for you all and I'll take a little wander around the garden and I'll have a look at what I think are quite interesting perennials or plants or grasses, call it what you will, for a spring border. Or for springtime, really, because that's what it is. And I thought I would start with this one. Now, this one's Brunera, and this one is a really, really nice floriferous, I'll have to call this one. Very flowery plant at this time of year. And it seems to go on forever. I think this has now been flowering at least 2 months. But I think it's finally getting to the end of the flowering period. Now, after that's happened, I have to cut these back in because this isn't the interesting bit, believe it or not. The interesting bit is when the big leaves start going. And in this particular one, which is Alexander's Great, we have some fantastic leaf patterns. Now, these leaves that I'm showing you there, they will be 4 times bigger than that once they get into the flow. Once we cut back the flowers, that is. So we have to take the flowers right back in there. So I consider that quite an interesting perennial. Now, as I wander around this border here, I'm trying to find 1 or 2 more for you so we can show you what we've got going on. And remember, this is for spring interest, so we'll go back to this, which is Lathyrus vernus. And I think this is only interesting from the point of view that it flowers quite early, which it is doing. And it's getting towards the back end now of its flowering period. So it won't be too long before that's gone. But that's still an interesting plant. Now, I don't really want to go into euphorbias again because we've done a video on euphorbias. But this has to be one of the better spring interest euphorbias for colour. And it is absolutely fantastic. So this one is Euphorbia excalibur, which is an absolutely fantastic euphorbia. And in the spring garden, that looks very interesting. So we'll carry on wandering around. And I must say, this year, everything is ahead of time. And I mean everything. Everything's growing so fast. And I've got to put it down to the fact that we've had a lot of rain. And I mean a lot of rain. It just seems to never stop, and I'm sure it's the same in other parts of the UK. So this border is looking fantastic, to be honest with you. I'm just trying to pick out. There's so many good ones for the spring border this year that I'm struggling to pick 1 or 2 out for you because I don't want to give you too many. Here's a good one to show you. Now, this is Phalictrum, and this is called Phalictrum Ann, this particular one. And it has this, well, lovely leaf, really. And it's already up to 3 foot. It'll get to 7 or 8 foot in the end and produce little purpley blue flowers on the top of that. And it is a wonderful, its common name is called meadow rue. So as you can imagine from that, it would prefer a damper site than I've got here. But because I'm on quite heavy chalk here, it seems to suit it. Now, the other Phalictrum that I have and I often go on about is this one here. And this is Phalictrum Ellen. And it has a more purpley red stem, I believe, than Anne. Anne is a pretty good one, but I still think it's beaten by the other one. So this is a shrub. And this is, well, a very pretty shrub at this time of year. And it's a spirea. And it's very small still. And it's one called Firelight. But it really does look like it's on fire. And it's got loads of different colours in there. Little orangey tones, golden yellow tones. It produces a little, what I think is an insignificant flower eventually. But it is a really nice one to consider for your spring garden because of that colour. So we'll wander around here. So we'll change the tone now to a grass. This grass here, and this grass here is called Ceslaria nitida. And as you can see, it has those lovely little bunny tail seed heads. They're quite good, actually, quite good. I resisted getting this one for many, many, many years. And finally, a couple of years ago, decided I would get it because I'd seen it elsewhere and it looked quite nice. And it does. It's early. We're still in April and it's looking really good. So if you're looking for a grass with some sort of an early interest, that would be a good one to choose, apart from the evergreens. And it is evergreen, well, ever bluey grey, really, that one. And then it produces these very, very early seed heads. Oh, I note that this is already starting to send up flowers. And this is Cirsium rivulare atropurpureum, and that's very early. And it's producing loads and loads of flowers at the minute, and they will go up at least another 4 foot. Yeah, this border's looking good. And I think the rheum should be given a mention, really. And this is the rheum palmatum tanguticum. And it's just the simple size of the leaves. I think that we need to give that one a mention for. Starts off a real deep purple when they're very small, those leaves. And then they change. But the underside tends to hold on to some of that purple. So when the wind blows and it moves those leaves up and down, you can see purple flashes. It's quite a nice plant to have. So we'll wander over to the cloister pergola here. And this is a lovely plant, this one. I really do like this one. And it's called Lamium orvala. And it's a nettle, or related to the nettle family. And look at those flowers. Those flowers are just amazing. Now I can touch this, won't sting me. It's very good. It's a perennial, gets bigger and bigger each year. And again, very early to flower this year. Very early to flower. But it's looking fantastic. So, into the cloister pergola. Got another Brunera. I think that's Sea Heart. Not 100% sure. Lost the label for this one. Typical in it. But I have. Then we go to this one. Now, this used to be called Dicentra, or Bleeding Heart. But this one's now called Lampricapnos spectably Valentine. And it's one of the newer cultivars, and it seems to flower for an age, this one. I think I can get a couple of months out of that of flowering. And they really do look nice. And the Bleeding Heart, that is called as its common name, you can see why. That shape of that flower is wonderful. So that would be a nice, interesting spring flower to have, that one. I guess we could say that Primula veris, which are those yellow ones, the cowslips at the back, quite interesting, but quite common. So we ought to mention this, really. This is a Strantia, and this is my Muriel's Gift one. It's just a simple Jill Richardson selection made by Jill herself. And it's flowering very early, and it always flowers early for me, this one. It's a nice plant to have. Gets a lot taller than that. I've got quite a collection of Astrantias going on now, and they're doing well. Well, we're down in this border, and as usual, Hamish is making an appearance. He likes to be on all the videos. Such a good looking cat. So have we got anything interesting in this border? I don't think there is really, apart from the Astrantia again, and it's not really got going, this particular one. I've got them all over the place. That one's not really going for it just yet. The roses are doing all right, but we can't really class them as an interesting spring flower. I must say that I'm really getting into these. I wish I had more of these, and apparently they can spread around quite a lot, which I don't mind. I'd love more and more of these. These are Camasias, and I believe this one to be Lechlinii caerulea. I'm nearly 100% sure that that is what that one is. But it's so nice, and these do live in wet meadows. And again, I'll repeat myself here, I am on wet and heavy chalk here, so we do get these to produce really nice looking flowers. I think the more of these you have in an area, I think the better. I just don't think I've got enough. I've got some at the back there as well, but I just think I need to get more and more of them to really get the show going. So that is a bit of a look round and just a quick video to see what's going on and to sort of highlight what I consider early interesting plants for the spring garden. And we could go back through the euphorbias again, but we've done a video on those, so we'll not bother. But you can see they are beautiful. I'll tell you what, we'll include this one as well. This is Cynara cardunculus. Gets to be a big leaved plant that produces a purple flower head eventually as the season moves on, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger each year. So you really have to put this into a place where it can stretch its arms out, because it needs to stretch its arms out to look good. Now in this case, this actually reappeared after a year of it not being there. I planted it and thought I'd lost it, and then suddenly it reappeared, and there it is, looking very, very nice indeed. So the garden in general is looking really good. I can't wait till we get into summer, because things are looking really good. I think we're going to have a spectacular summer, if I'm honest, because this early rain really has made a difference. There's so much still to come up that I'm looking forward to seeing as well. But for now, we're going to have to say we'll call that a day on that. I think there's one or two little spring interesting plants there for you to be going on with. Ta-da!